Welcome to another episode of Happy, Healthy, and Skeptical. We are your hosts, Jennifer Hobson and Christy Palermo. All right. I always enjoy talking to Christy, obviously. We love to have our podcast, but what I enjoy even more is inviting someone else to have a conversation with us and to get to learn new things, get to learn about them as a person, learn about the things that they do, share what they do with other people. I just met Britni. It's not even that long ago, Britni, right? I met you in August, and it was one of those things. I saw Britni speak at a women's event, and it's one of those things when you hear someone talk and you're immediately like, her energy, that's the kind of energy that I want to be around, right? Those are the type of people that you want to add to your circle. So I was really excited as I've been following Britni, right? I totally creep on her Instagram. I watch her dance, her solo dance parties, and I thoroughly enjoy them. And I was like, you know what? I want to invite her to be part of our podcast. So I'm really, really excited to introduce to you Britni Bolieiro and have her speak with us today. So Britni, before we even get to any questions, I want to give you an opportunity to share who you are and a little bit about you with our listeners.
Okay, first off, thank you both for having me. Truly, and you just touched my heart, Jen. Just meeting you, I feel like it was like an eye contact, and I was like, yo, that's my girl. Like, it was just like, in those moments and seeing her, and then she's like, yo, can you play a song for me? I was like, oh, I got you. So super, super grateful. And I love doing this kind of stuff because as women, we rise higher together. I truly believe that. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. A little bit about me. So I'm a life coach, I'm an inner power coach. But I think my biggest thing I want people to know is, like Jen said, is my energy. I want people to meet Britni and to be like, damn, she loves me. Like, damn, she believes in me. That's how I want to show up when you meet me, if you're my child, if you're my husband, anyone in life, because I think definitely over the years and COVID and everything happened, there was so much disconnect. So it's like so nice to be in rooms or surrounded with people that I can just be like, I believe in you. So that's like the biggest thing is I want to hug you because if anybody knows me, I am a hugger. Like, I need to embrace you. So I want to say that I am happily married to my soulmate. We met when we were younger. We separated for like 8 years. I got sober and I celebrated 10 years of sobriety in October, which is huge for me. Yes. And my husband got sober, and when we got back together, I got blessed with my stepson, who is my son, who was born before me. And I get choked up with him because he literally has changed my life. He's been my biggest teacher. So my husband and my stepson are my world. Like, they are my favorite people. This is who I do it for. And I absolutely love what I do as an inner power coach. I don't know if you want me to get into like why I started this in my past. I can get into that, but life wants you to abandon self. Society wants you to abandon self, to fit in, to shrink, to dilute yourself. And I'm not for that. I don't feel like we were born to check some box. I don't feel like we were supposed to do, go, more. I feel you are unique. You are just bring so much value and have so many gifts. And I want women to know, like, we need to live from our heart. We need to get out of our head and live into our heart and be fully expressed in everything we do. So that's a little bit.
See, I literally listening to you, like, I feel energy coming on me. That's what I was trying to explain to Christy, because I know you haven't met her yet. And I love that you're wearing an AC/DC shirt. It makes it a little bit better. And it's funny because she's like, I'm a hugger. Well, most of our listeners, if you've been listening for a while, I'm not. But it was one of those things where I was still drawn to the energy, and I was like, absolutely. And that's where it's funny. No, I'm not a hugger, but I know my people when I'm willing to embrace you on my first meet. And I think that was something that was a little bit different. So we will get into all the things that you do and about you, but I think that's a great introduction, because alone, not listing all of the things about you, your words speak energy alone. And I think that's really important. That's so many important things and messages that people need to hear. So before we kind of get into the nitty gritty, can I ask you, Britni, what really is an inner power coach?
Yes, I love this. I get often I get it asked, and two of people like, what did you say, inner power? So I am a life coach, but it was probably the beginning of this year, and why I decided, one, I like to be unique, right? I didn't really hear people. Well, I didn't hear anyone having it, so I was like, inner power. That's I just power. Like, just think of that word. Like, that is just Like you can change your life. That's how powerful you are, right? So for me, is my energy is power. My beliefs are power. My love for you is power. So like I know that any woman, when you tap into your inner power, you're gonna change your fucking life. Right? Like when you're connected to that, it's not outside there, it's not in a relationship, it's not in a car, it's not in your bank account, it's not in things that we speak or we think, right? Or that we were taught in school. That power within you, if you believe in it, if you have that story and you get behind that, like if I could mic drop right now, I'd be mic dropping. So like inner power to me is like why I picked that is because I'm passionate about it. How I changed my life. And when I share my story a little bit later is my power within me got me right here. The beliefs, the power, the magic, the gifts that's within me. No, nobody did that for me. I believe God, my higher power, whatever somebody else believes in, right? I believe those were planted in my heart. But inner power is like, yes, let's connect to that stuff. Let's actually reconnect because throughout life we get disconnected. We never lose the power, but let's get reconnected to your inner power, aka love yourself fiercely, aka transform your life. And that's why it's so meaningful to me.
I love your energy. Oh my gosh. I am feeling it, and it's like just chatting with you, like I can feel my own energy, like I'm sitting up straighter, I'm leaning forward, because it's totally not even, we don't even have to be in person to feed off somebody else's energy. And so when you are talking to somebody with someone's energy like you can't help but feel that. And so I know people listening to this, like you just hear it in your voice. And 100%, I think we can all agree that you are in your calling, because as you're talking about it, it's so passionate and we can feel what you're doing, even if I don't even know quite yet what it is. Like, I would love for you to tell us a little bit more, like how you work with people, like what that means to be a life coach, because I want to know more. That's what I'm leaning into.
I love that so much. So more of what I do. So my signature program is called Own Your Bigness. And I want to explain, because Jen did ask me this before, like what is Own Your Bigness, right? Because people do it. And I want to say too, and this is, I want to make clear, people hear big, right? And they're like, oh, I gotta be flashy, some big life, right? No, I don't care if it's like me. I want to like have a community garden, drive an RV, travel and dance with my tribe. Like that's big to me, right? So I don't want big to mean flashy and all this type of shit, right? Because at one point, like I had all the flashy, the cars, the shoes, but I felt like shit, right? So it really, owning your bigness is clarifying like what do you want? What's on your heart, right? Owning your bigness is owning all parts of you, even the messy, even the uncomfortable. Because when we ditch the shame and the guilt and the perfectionism and we offer ourselves love and compassion, right? It shifts, right? Because shame and guilt, you can't get abundance with lack, right? You got to get abundance with abundance. So like owning your bigness is like, it's a way of experiencing life in a new way. It's literally saying like, okay, I'm going to sit with myself. I'm going to feel these uncomfortable feelings. Where does it come up in my body, right? What is it showing me? What is it guiding me to do? But owning your bigness is really like, I want you to live fully expressed. I want you to be your true, authentic self. I want you to create security and safety within yourself, within your higher power, that no matter what fucking happens in life, you know you're going to be okay because you trust your process. You trust you trust your higher power, that no matter what, you're going to be okay. So again, owning your bigness is like embracing the unique person you are. Jen, Christy, you guys all got something that makes you, that people can try to duplicate that shit, but it will never happen because they don't got the sauce that you guys got, right? So I was like, don't die a duplicate, motherfucker. Like, get out here and be you, fully expressed, and you're going to attract what is for you. And most people don't want to do this because they're like, well, then I won't be consistent and this person will have opinions of me, or I'm not going to show up and they're not going to like this. I don't give a fuck about that. Life's too short that it's like when you're you attract everything for you. And I don't think there's anything better than that, because you acting this false person, you're attracting things that aren't really who you are, and you have that sickness. We become disconnected. We get disease because we're not truly living in our power.
Yeah, I think it definitely, I mean, it absolutely makes sense. And so much of it goes back to Christy and I have talked to this about before, right? Is so much of what we do is not based upon what we want to truly do, but what we're afraid of other people will think of what we're doing, right? Like it's so much of what we don't do is because we're afraid of what other people think or how we'll be perceived, or we're not going to be accepted in the circles that we're currently in, and all of these things. And all they're doing is holding you back from who you're meant to be, which I think is kind of part of your bigness. It's who you're meant to be and who you're meant to show up. Because like you said, not everybody is meant to be rolling deep with rims on their car and flashy and wearing all the shiny stuff and being the loudest person in the room. That's not what that means. And I've seen that having conversations with you, is that owning your business is being your true authentic self. And I think that's super important. But I think it's important for listeners too to know a little bit deeper about you, because like you said before, you haven't always owned your business, your bigness, and you haven't always been the person that you were meant to be. And how have you evolved from your past to come to this point, Britni?
Yeah, that's a great question. And now too, it's like, how can we use our past as an asset and not a liability, right? Like, how can we connect more and like live like from our future self? People live from their past. We're not going to be able to get to our goals by living in our past because those are old behaviors, right? So for me, there was so many rock bottoms that I look now as portals, right, into a doorway into what was next. But growing up, like my parents were alcoholics, addicts. I grew up with chaos and drama. Like that's what felt safe to me, right? So now later on trying to create like peace, your body keeps it, right? My body's like, oh, this is not safe. You're used to this other crap. And it's like, no, this is what I want. Okay, right. So let's create new neural pathways to that. But I was only child. And today, I wholeheartedly believe my parents did the best with what they knew. I lost both of my parents before I turned 18. And my life got real colorful. When I lost my dad, my mom kind of, her grief, right? It really exploded in my life, and I started picking up drugs and alcohol to numb myself, to feel. And it's kind of crazy. I was actually telling a friend yesterday, I used to like double fist and want to be like an empty bin of drink, and I would not really be drinking, right? Because I didn't want to be like my mother. And then once I really got it, I was like, okay, this, I don't have to feel. I don't have to, I can fit in. I can do these things. So I drank and used drugs for a few years, and my life got really uncomfortable to a new point. And the first Christmas without my parents, both of them, I tried to take my own life. Someone saved me, and I am so thankful. At that point, I was pissed, and I ended up going into a mental institution. I just remember this paper tree, Christmas tree on the wall. And it chokes me up because there's nothing more at that point that I wanted to die. I wanted to die so bad. And after when I got out, I still attempted to take my own life in different ways. And I hated myself so much. I did everything to abandon. I did everything to fit in. I did everything to be like, I did everything that didn't feel good in my body. So I got sober. Something, my godfather came back in my life. He was a high school teacher, and I didn't know he was bringing me to meetings because I was an addict, alcoholic at the time. And then something was like, I'm meant for more. Like I'm meant for more, right? So I kept going. I relapsed, kept going, relapsed. But I got sober, and here I am, like I said, 10 years. And putting the drink and the drug down wasn't the hard part. It was what I felt when I put it down. You know what I mean? It was all those like you got to feel this, right? So in the last 10 years, there was a lot of learning what a relationship is out of it. What do I like? What do I want? Skills and all that. But I definitely want to say the last 4 years, my life has just, in the best way possible. I did life coaching for myself. And then I met my husband. We got reconnected shortly after. I got pregnant, and we lost a baby in 2020. And that point is where I wanted to do my old behavior, become a track star runner again, and leave my family, right? Because I felt so much pain, and why did I deserve this, right? And this was showing me. But in that moment, I felt my feelings, and I said, I'm going to let losing this baby crack open my heart, help me become who I'm meant to be. And then within a year, I opened my business. So, and from losing that baby, I got diagnosed with autoimmune disease. And I'm just sharing all these things because I think people see me because my energy and I'm dancing, that oh, wow, she got life good. Like, we all struggle, right? We all struggle in our unique ways. I don't care what anyone said. That's the human part about us. And that's why people are attracted to me, because I'm raw, I'm real, I'm vulnerable. I am struggling and I'm not fucking giving up, right? Like, there are moments in that. And I feel like we can find joy in the suffering. That I don't like dismiss negative things. I fully feel them and recognize them and work through them. But I also know that shit's like quicksand. So for me is I am positive, and I believe every fucking challenge in my life is an opportunity, and it's bigger than me. Like, I'm doing this for you guys. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my clients, right? Just like you guys are doing. This work is bigger than us. And I want people to feel that. Like, I have been rock bottom so many fucking times, whether it was like trying to take my own life, homeless, and drugs and alcohol, hating myself. And that's why I love what I do, because like, it's like mic drop time, baby. Like, yo, I just love this shit. But like Eminem, like, I am a bum. I do live it out. Like, you can't take shit from me, because I will tell you, I've been there. I was toxic. I was the asshole. I was all those things. I didn't love myself. And now I'm my own transformation, that anybody who knows me is I'm a living fucking walking testimony that I do this work. And that's why I am people's coaches who are ready to do that shit, because I'm not somebody who just is like, oh, I'm going to say, I'm going to evolve right with you. So sorry, I got a little sidetracked on that, but more is like, there's just so much. Like, I think big, like, I'm going through some stuff with my health right now. And I just want to like emphasize, like, we're all going to go through things, but like, don't give up on yourself, right? Don't shrink yourself. Don't say, why me, poor me, victim me. This is bigger. Like, we're going to get to the other side, and you might not believe it right now, but I believe everything, like I said, is an opportunity for us to become more of who we're meant to be, and we can grieve it, you know?
I think it's amazing. I mean, you had the opportunity to, I mean, you tried to give up, and thankfully there was someone saying, it's not your time. You're meant to be here. And truly you are meant to be here, because you took all that pain and that suffering, and it wasn't once, it wasn't twice, right? This continues to happen in our life, and you chose to take that and to serve people. And I think that's what it's heart-wrenching, first of all, to hear your story. And I'm so thankful that you were vulnerable to share that story, because those aren't easy experiences, right? You could go, well, I want to pour into people because that's how it makes me feel good. Well, that's not why, right? It's what really happened. And we've all experienced those. And Christy and I have talked about this before, is we're not saying don't live and experience the pain, but guess what? If you choose to live there, nothing else good is going to happen for you. It just doesn't happen. And you can use those experiences to either move forward and make a difference, or you can use them as an excuse to not be who you're meant to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody listening to this, I mean, I definitely got teary-eyed listening to everything you've been through. And like Jen said, you being so vulnerable with us to share with us so that we can connect with you, and everybody can connect to some part of your story. And the part where you're saying too, where you're like, I'm not even there yet. Like, I'm still in, like, there's still hard things right now. Like, what you're doing in the midst of it all, I think is so powerful, because a lot of us tend to think too, like, well, I'll be successful when I'm there, when I've arrived at this thing. But you're like in the middle of some hard stuff still, and even just recently other things. And like, I mean, there's a lot going on there, and even still in the midst of it, like, you are successful and you are sharing and helping guide other people. And I think that's so powerful, that it's not one and then the other, like, it's all at the same time. And it's such a good thing for us all to remember.
Well, think about that. Think about if Britney waited to go, well, I'm going to wait until my life is completely perfect and I never feel shitty and everything's wonderful. And like, we wouldn't be talking to Britney for, who knows how long.
Sure.
Like, and that's for each of us, right? Like, if we decide to not start the business because things aren't perfect, if we decide, not to start a new charity or foundation or do hard things, start a new health journey, whatever it is that you're afraid of, don't be afraid of it because it's not perfect and pretty.
Ooh, but isn't that, I want the messy. I want the vulnerable. That's who I'm connected. I want to fuck with people who like, yo, I did this and I feel failed and I'm going to go do it again. I'm like, let's fucking go. Right. Cause that's who we need to be. Like, if you're on the bleachers trying to give me advice, go sit and eat your popcorn and watch me. Right. But if you want to be on the field with me, I'll pick you up, you pick me up and we going, then that's what I'm about. But right. But it's like, you're literally, so many people stay stuck and small because this person who's watching popcorn and eating popcorn watching is saying, oh, this or that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we are supposed to fail. We are supposed to fuck up. Like, we're supposed to evolve. If something didn't serve you that you said yesterday, you can change your mind right now. There are no chains to ever staying the same. And I think, again, that's the society and social media and all these, like, a quick dopamine hit. It's like, let me pick up my phone and just scroll instead. Like, let me go within and sit and really see what's like on my heart and what I have to do. And like, how can I show up in my life to really feel that joy instead of just like comparing myself when that person's probably showing you a sunflower and their whole fucking lawn is burning. Okay.
Right? We need to stop taking advice from people not playing the game. Like, I don't know what it is, but I do know what it is, right? I'm not gonna lie. It's the comfort. It's easy to sit on the side and give you advice. I mean, we've all done it at some point in our life, right? Something that we should have been listening to ourselves, telling someone about a breakup or what they should do in their personal life, their relationship, how they can get ahead. There's all of us are guilty of it. At some point, we've given advice when we should have been taking the advice. And we need to take a step back and go, all right, am I willing to show up for myself and get on the field, or am I going to be a spectator? And being a spectator, if that's your comfort zone, that's where you're going to stay. There's going to be no growth. So, I mean, I assume that people know, but what would lead someone, Britni, to needing or wanting this type of coaching?
Okay. So I tell everybody, right? For therapy brings people to baseline, right? Life coaching takes people from baseline to next level. So I do like a free 30-minute discovery call because I tell people who are interested, the discovery call is just not just for me. It's for me and the other person, right? We are a good fit, right? I want everybody to win. That's just who I am. So if I feel, hey, this would benefit you or this would, or therapy, I'm going to offer that, right? Because I am not for everybody in coaching in real life. And I love that because that means I fucking stand for something. I believe in something and nothing's wavering me from that, right? But what leads people to me is like, okay, like I have this inner nudge. I want more. I have this heart desire. I want to feel confident. I want to feel expansive living, like not restricted, right? Like I want to hit my next level. I want to fully own myself. Then I'm like, let's fucking go, right? They want to reconnect to their magic, to their truth, to their power, right? Because this inner work, I always tell people, you doing the inner work will change your life without the outside world even changing. That's how fucking powerful you are, right? So if people are looking like, again, if you want somebody who's going to hold your hand, if you want somebody who's going to be like, oh, no, I'm going to ruffle your feathers. I'm going to call you out with love, right? Because I want you to get results with me, right? I want you to live. And if I just say like, oh, no, pat you on the back, like, right? I am your biggest motherfucking hype man. Best believe that. And I wholeheartedly love and support you. But I'm not somebody who's just going to co-sign bullshit. You know what I mean? So I'm for somebody, a woman, a committed woman, who is ready to literally getting what's impossible, what seems so impossible for you right now, and let's go for it. Because even if you shoot for the moon, you land among the stars, right? If you shoot for something, who you become during that way there is like, it's not gonna, your current self can't get you there, but your next level you can, right? So again, it's really, I love connecting to the heart. What's on your heart? If you can wave a magic wand, if you had no restrictions, who would you be? How would you show up? What would you be doing? Right? And it's really about like getting into that work. And in the work that I do, it's like, okay, what's your current story? Right? It's getting what, and then releasing, we have to release, right? To create space, and then going into creating a new story. And it gets behind supporting that new story with every fucking thing that we got, right? It's finding evidence. But I like to get to the root of things. What is the roots? It's going to childhood. What needs weren't met? How can we meet our own needs, right? Like what's the inner dialogue that we're telling ourselves? What's the toolboxes we're using, right? So it's literally like, I always say, I know YouTube can only see me doing it, but it's like, we're here and we come in born, right? We're bold, fully expressed, like, oh, watch out. And then, hey, you're too loud. Alea, hey, that's inappropriate. Hey, can you please quiet your voice? So throughout life, we just get all these layers of what we think we should be doing, who we should be acting. I mean, how we should be acting, all those things. And the work with me is like peeling back the layers, poking the holes, and get into who you truly are. So it goes back to being like your true authentic self.
I think so many people, so many different types of people could benefit from this type of coaching. What I really liked that you said is you don't just see if you see if it's compatible both ways, right? Because so many people in coaching just want to be, I want to offer you my services. I want to offer you my services. Well, I might not be the best fit for you. And before we even start on this journey, maybe you should, I want to encourage you to look into this or look into a relationship with somebody. And I love that. And I'm sure Christy has heard me said this before, but I know I'm not for everybody. And I've had to work on that in my life. And that's been a struggle and a challenge, but I've accepted it. And I know that's a part of me because we're not meant to be for everybody. We're meant to be for our people. And we have to take the time to figure out who our people are. And the people, I think you use this word a lot, is belief, that believe in us and that are willing to be there for us. So I think people get a good idea of, hey, why would I want this type of coach? Why would I even talk to Britni? How would I even connect with her? First of all, you can connect with her on social media. You can find her, Britni Bolieiro. But before we get into that, I want to ask, as a coach, what has been one of the main maybe themes or habits that you've seen that holds people back, or specifically women maybe?
I feel like it goes for like everyone, but the biggest thing that I see is the fear of people's opinions. Is like, I can't show up this way, because when we show up differently, people don't like that, right? But my question is, why don't they like that? Are they no longer benefiting from that? Are they no longer benefiting from you because you're showing up with boundaries, because you love yourself, because you respect yourself? And if you set that boundary and they try to keep pushing and you hold it, right? So it's like, is it because you're making them uncomfortable because you're evolving? So yeah, a big thing is like, but I'm scared how they will take it. I'm scared how this. And I tell people, like, when you're that lighthouse and you shine your light so bright and you're doing what's best for you, it's best for everybody. And you're showing that person, wow, I can do what's best for me. She set a boundary, I can set a boundary. She loves herself, I can love myself. Like, so again, of like being that inspiration by us being like our true self. And then, and another like barrier comes down is like, women don't like themselves. And that really is heavy and touches it, because I've been there, but it's also like, and I'm smiling right now because like these women, and they tell me, and I'm like, yo, I can't wait for this chick to see just how fucking mind blowing she is, like how powerful and beautiful, right? So like the beginning of going like, I don't trust myself. I'm not worthy of that. I'm not worthy of a relationship. I'm not like, I can't trust that person to let in. Seeing this work and then being like, ending like, yo, who I am, like, I don't gotta alter this shit. Like, yo, I'm the whole motherfucking table. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to sit at somebody else's table. I got the whole fucking table. And it's just like, oh, and I say too, like this work that I do, and why I have results is because I show up. And show up doesn't mean just on social media. Showing up means doing what's best for you in your life. If you need to fucking cry and have a ugly snot looking day one day and eat pizza and not cook and tell your kids to eat fucking frozen food, or what, like, and that's what's best for you in that moment, like that's showing up for ourselves, right? So again, if like this work I do with clients, and I always tell them, like, you have to continue this, just like how you choose to eat healthy, or you think, like, most people don't do this work, and you ladies obviously do this work. 95% of people don't do this, right? It's very fucking so like, to you guys, I'm clapping for you fucking too. I'm clapping for all our clients and all that shit. But yes, it comes down to like, of them not connected to the inner power, not connected to their worth or their truth or the gifts or the magic. And by the work that I do with them, right? I'm just a guide, but they're doing it, is like they get reconnected because it never left. We just gotta take the wiring system and just re-put it. You know what I mean?
No, it makes a lot of sense. And I think you made a good point is, we're in that capacity and we're not perfect at it either, right? Christine and I, we fumble, we fall, we get back up, but we work on the personal development. And that's why we started this podcast, because, you can make the assumption that other people are doing this work. They're not. Most people are not doing this work, and they're living in fear, and they're living in the comfort, and they're living they're not uncomfortable yet in the good way, the uncomfort of growth, right? They're comfortable with where they are and they're worth so much more. And I think that's super important, is that if people know that they have the opportunity to reconnect with who they are, who they're meant to be, and maybe now they have a person that they can go to and really kind of talk that out. I think that's really important. And there needs to be more people like you, right? You are unapologetic and I fucking love it. And I told Christy before, I said, you know what? She's hardcore New England and that's my kind of people. And I was thinking, as you're saying your table, I'm like, I'll sit at your table. It sounds like a good freaking time.
I love that analogy. Yeah. You said, I didn't just sit at anybody else's table. I am the table. I think that's so great. And just helping people to see outside of their own world and what else they can do. And I'm actually thinking of, of course, Jen shared with me your social media. So I went on in your Instagram, and one of the first videos I saw, and I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but you said something like, don't be afraid to throw them a curveball. Like you can go and do something else. You can go be someone else, and you don't have to apologize for that, you know? And I remember that like gave me chills, like the hair on my arms was standing up, and I was like, yes. And that's when I was like, let's do it. I love that we're doing a podcast with her, because this is great. And sometimes people need to be shown that. And if you're doing the personal work with them so that because a lot of times it's just like, oh, well, yeah, sure, that person went through it and figured their stuff out because they're this and that and the other thing, and I'm not those things. So I don't know that I have that in me to become that person, but with someone like you that can help them do the personal work on themselves and find that other part of them, that other piece of them that is already there. Oh my gosh, it's such a beautiful thing. And I think it's just so needed.
That's a perfect word, is that this type of work, your type of people, who you are, you're a needed person. And we need to put the message out there for the listeners here, is that first of all, you're worth the time, you're worth the effort to reach out to someone like Britni and say, hey, I need guidance on how I can become my true self. So before we wrap this up, we got a couple minutes before we kind of finish up this conversation. My last question to you, Britni, is what is your most important message to people?
My most important message is, I want you to hear this and like just take a minute, if you're in your car, in your kitchen, wherever you are, to put your hand on your heart. And I want you to fully receive and know that you are one of one, and that is your power. And I just want you to feel that. Like, I get goosebumps. You don't have to be like her. You don't have to be like them. You don't have to, should, could, be in check boxes. Like, you are meant to be you to your core. You weren't made by mistake. You weren't made by accident. You weren't made to try to copycat, right? You are made to fully be expressed, because you being you is medicine to the fucking world. And I just want you just to leave you with this thought too, is when you're on your deathbed and you look back, who is going to be beside you? And then think, right now we're not living because of fear of other people's opinions. What's going with you when you die? It's not material things, right? I know I want to leave this world better than when I came in, right? Like, I want to show up as a change I want to see in the world. I don't do this shit, like I said, just for me. I do it for my children, for my family, for my clients, for the world. And if we have more people doing that, I truly believe it will be a better place, especially for our kids in the future. And that is needed. So I love you. I wholeheartedly believe in you. And if you are ready to do the work, I'm your girl.
That's so beautiful. And well, I was just going to say, if you are listening to this and you didn't just sit there with your hand on your heart and your eyes closed, rewind this and go listen to it again, because I let myself do it even while I'm having this conversation. And like tears just come out of my eyes. Like I didn't expect that. I didn't know what you were going to say. And, you know, like in that moment, like I felt it and I felt myself moved by it. And I know if anybody listening, like go back and do it yourself and listen to what she just had to say, because it's so real. And yeah, it's emotional, because we all need that reminder that we're unique. And we're absolutely going to share your information in the show notes of the podcast. And then is there other places? We mentioned Instagram. Is there other ways people can connect with you?
It's Instagram and Facebook. It's Britni Bolieiro. I always tell people, book the discovery call with me. It's a free 30-minute, no pressure call. Again, you can watch my stuff, but even you have that inner nudge, get on the fucking phone call. I want to talk to you. I want to get to know you. It's good to have that. Don't just sit wishing, waiting, sitting on the sidelines. Like, make the phone call. Let's get to know each other. So, and that is in my bio. The link to my Calendly will be in my bio.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for listening. You can find us on social at Happy, Healthy, Skeptical.